Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. In this week's Parsha, we could learn two tremendous lessons in Chinuch, and right from the beginning of the Parsha. In Parshas Toldos, we see that the great Yitzchak Avinu has two children. One is Esav, an Ish Sada, and one is Yaakov, a Ish Tam Yoshev Aholim. And the pasuk goes on to say that Vayehav Yitzchak es Esav, shocking that Yitzchak loves Esav, and Rivka finds favor actually in Yaakov. How is it that a son like Esav, a father like Yitzchak, actually is able to have a son like Esav? And perhaps in those words, in the Vayehav Yitzchak as Esav, is hidden the chinuch of what came about to Esav becoming Esav. The Medrash says, the Medrash in the Chumash Shmois, in the beginning of Chumash Shmois, is Megala, reveals to us the Soid HaChinuch, and says, based on what's brought in Mishlei, that it all depends, that we find that when a person is miyaser b'noi, when a person sometimes acts tough to his son, the more you give your son rebuke, and you tell him off, eventually he turns around and learns to love you more. If everything your son does is good, and you give him more and more love, and only love, he ends up going off the right derech. He ends up thinking everything is perfect. So the Vayehav Yitzchak es Esav, perhaps that Esav, always thinking that he was right, ended up making Esav who he was. Esav became Esav because he was always right. Yaakov, however, if it ever came about that Yitzchak had to tell him and teach him and tell him this is right, this is wrong, there are certain things you're not allowed to do, that shaped Yaakov, that formed Yaakov to be who Yaakov is. And that is true love. That is true chinuch. This is what the Medrash says. True chinuch is to tell your son what's wrong, but to tell your son everything is correct. Vayehav Yitzchak as Esav. Esav, I love you, love, 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 love. That's creating an Esav. That's one form of chinuch, a tremendous lesson in chinuch you have to learn. And there is actually a beautiful story I read that you could attribute to this. There were two families that Nebuch had children that went off the derech. One of them, even while the child is off the derech, he's Nebuch doing very, very not nice things. But even as he's doing even Chilul Shabbos, not eating kosher, but before he goes to sleep, he says Shema. At least he says Shema. Why? Because that was carved into him. As he was growing up, every night his mother made sure, say Shema, you go to sleep, say Shema. So that stayed with him. It became natural. And he saw that his parents said Shema, and it became natural. It became part of him. So why not? What was the big deal that even when he went off the derech, and when he came back full swing. The other child, what he remembered is to make sure that when he goes to sleep, make sure to brush your teeth. Because that was the most important thing. So the parents have to be very, very careful where you put the dagesh, where you put the emphasis. Do you make sure to brush your teeth, or make sure to kriya Shema Sha'alamita? That's one very important lesson in chinuch from this parsha. We also find another tremendous lesson in chinuch from this parsha. What the children, how to react to their parents. We find that Yitzchak he digs pits, he digs wells. The pasuk says, "Vayoshav Yitzchak, vayachber es be'eres hamayim." He digs up the wells of water. Vayikra lahem shemois kashemois asher kara lahem aviv. He digs up the wells and he calls them the same names that his parents, his father Avram called. Yitzchak was proud to call the wells the same name Avram Avinu called those wells. A child has to be proud with what his Mesorah, his tradition of his family had. This whole new thing, that it's the new millennium, it's a new generation, we're cool, and it was starting something fresh, we're a new chain, that doesn't work. Every child has to know we're part of a chain. Yitzchak says, Kashemois asher kara lahem. I am proud to be part of a chain of a whole link of generations. It works both ways. That is proper chinuch.